What is up, my people? Longest time. Yeah, it's Obi here. How you all doing? Um, Today I'm just gonna talk briefly about remote neural monitoring. I'm sure many of you guys have heard about this before. Just in case if you've not, I don't know the actual terms that is best to use to define this thing, but we're going to try. Remote neural monitoring is the process of monitoring the brain's, the process of using technology to monitor the brain's neurological activity. If you do your research on what this thing is, you would find that it's about using technology to, how should I put it? Is it to, oh my God, what's the time for this? What's the time for this? Bear with me, guys, I'm crossing the road. Yeah, so using technology to interpret the brain's neurological signals, yeah, into images, and into images and pictures and actual meanings, so that if your brain neurological activities is being monitored and being recorded and you're being watched, they can easily interpret all your thoughts, all the impulses, all the signals. They can actually interpret it to actual images, so that whatever you're thinking at any point, they can easily know it. Now, this thing, when you do your proper research, you will find out this thing has been in existence for a long time, and we can see the use of it. They even show us in movies, how they use this to track people, like in the CIA movies and all of that. Now, what I want to talk about is how this thing is being used to hinder people from manifesting, their desires, their intentions as a being, as a natural, supreme being that one is supposed to be. But before I go into that, I'll explain briefly how manifestation process, how it actually happens. I'm going to continue this video in a while because it's like there's lots of distractions on the road. So when I get to a proper place, I'll continue it. Fuck it, I'm just going to continue talking before I just get off the mood. So now, how does manifestation process, the natural manifestation process, what is the steps? The steps is, first, picture what you want to create. Your intentions, have a clear visual representation in your mind. That is the first step. And that I'll still go into why that is the first step. Now, the second step is to feel the exact emotion, that is associated, or should I say equivalent to that visual representation you created in your mind. You feel the exact emotion that is equivalent to it. That is the second step. Now, the third step is to walk towards realizing that intention, the physical intention, that is to put the physical action to it. Like, just do something, just walk towards it, like take some physical action towards it. That is the third step. When you properly think about the steps that I mentioned, you will find that this is how we already create everything naturally. It's just that we're not conscious of it. Once you have the clear vision of what you intend to create, the feeling that accompanies it is always a good feeling, which is the feeling that you will feel if you've already got it. It's automatic. You understand? It's automatic. And then what you'd find is once you feel that feeling, you'll be more inclined to do some things, make moves, talk to people, to try and realize that intention that you have created. This is a natural process of manifesting things. But many of us are just not conscious about it. We're not conscious, about the process. We just do things, and that is why, because we're not conscious of it, that is why sometimes, we want something, but we don't get it. Because we're not conscious of the steps. We don't know how the steps is supposed to actually be in order for us to 100% achieve what we want. Because if we know what the steps are, we would know when the emotion is not in alignment with the visual intention. We would know, and we would know when we're not making a move, when we're supposed to. If you know, then you know how you're doing it wrong. Basically, that's just what it is. Now, having said this, I believe that from experience, what's happened to me, and still happening, when I realized this fact, earlier on, when I became conscious of this truth, I was using it to manifest little things, because I wasn't so money crazy. I wasn't money obsessed. I'm the kind of person that is just naturally contented with whatever it is I've got, as long as I don't have big pressing issues, that requires big money or big things. I'm just content with my situation. So I was just using it then to manifest little things, like just little things. And then something started to happen to me. I found that every time that I have a clear picture, that I make a visual intention of what imagination, basically. Once I create what I want in my mind and I see it clearly, and the next step is for me to actually feel the emotion behind it, which is the emotion that is equivalent to it, which is supposed to be a positive emotion, because positive emotions are like currency. They are like, for example, physical money in the physical reality. With money you can purchase things, with money you can do a lot of things. With money you are on the plus side. Without money you're on the negative side. So positive emotion is like that. When you feel positive about an intention that you have created in your mind, you will most likely achieve the physical equivalent of that intention which you have created, because it's been backed up with your positive emotion. So now your mental body is in alignment with your emotional body, and by you taking actual physical step, your physical body is now in alignment with your 3 other bodies. So 3: mind, emotion, and body. So that is just the process. So I found that whenever I'm in that alignment and I'm walking towards what I'm trying to create, something always happens. I went through something which I've already covered in my old videos, if you guys have already seen it, where I'm always being startled by government vehicles, emergency vehicles like the NHS ambulances and the police vehicles and all of that. You know? So now, having had that experience, I can say that that time it's a trauma because I couldn't believe it at first. I was thinking there was something that's happening by accident, maybe by coincidence, I think. But how many times will a coincidence have to happen for a person to know that it is not a coincidence, it is intentionally done? So I started to observe the pattern in which, when and why. I started to observe what I'm doing, at times that this thing happens. And I found that it is always times that I'm trying to generate positive emotions. I've had a clear imagination of something that I'm trying to manifest, and I'm trying to generate the emotional equivalent of it in order to be in alignment with it. That is when this thing always happening. Back then, I didn't have a lot of knowledge about remote neural monitoring. But I did know that when I realized that this was done intentional, I did know that there's a means that whoever is doing this is using to know what I am thinking. Because if you know what a person is thinking, that is when you're going to be able to interrupt them at that right time. If you don't know what they're thinking, you're not going to know when to interrupt their concentration, their focus. So back then, whenever I have that intention, there comes the siren. There comes the siren. Not one, not two, not three times, not four times, not 40 times, not 60 times. Every time. So I knew when I looked at the times that it always happens. I knew. And the fact that the way it was used, should I say, it's a sensitizing process. When they start to use it on you first, they want you to be sensitized to how it is being used on you. Now, back then it was used on me I could say is in a very uncomfortable way, because like when you're not going to see them, but all of a sudden you're trying to get into a corner, and then there comes the siren. All of a sudden, that was how they used it. So my mind already recorded that activity, the emotion behind it, how it was being used, very, very uncomfortable. So automatically, it became like a trauma, because it is something that I never expected, and something that is not good. I wouldn't even expect that from my enemy, because people that you look at positively, you even look up to people you trusted and believe that the saviors. They are people that saves that we rely on for safety. On all levels, they are the actual ones that are doing this thing. It's a trauma. So my mind already recorded that. And let me stop here for a bit, and say something, because I know that a lot of other people who has never had this kind of experience, it is easy for them to think whatever. Some might even think that one is going crazy or one has this or that. But how many of us will it take for you to know that this is really happening? If you go on the internet, you will see that a lot of people are experiencing the same thing. And this thing is designed in a way that if it is not happening to you, you will never know that it is possible. So I'll suggest you do proper research so that you would know, for the sake of the ones that you love, for the sake of someone that you would come across in your life, because people are going through this every day, and if nothing is done about this, it's going to continue to happen. You know, it's like the case of the bully. If you never stand up against the bully does not know how to stop, because it is a weakness in them until they are challenged. That is when they will learn. So do your proper research, please, before you put judgment on anybody talking about something you know nothing about. Now, that is the sensitizing period where they use something as a trigger. They traumatize you with something and then use it as a trigger to trigger emotional thoughts and images. Because you see that using that on someone to traumatize someone comes with its own, the interpretation, the image, the mental interpretation of that scene. That scene has its own mental interpretation as well as its own emotional interpretation, which is whenever you hear that thought, that sound, or whatever it is they use as a trigger, you're going to automatically visualize that trauma, and then the emotion follows. Now, the purpose for this is to change your intention on what you want to manifest. If you find that every time that you think about something and you're trying to feel a positive emotion, and then there comes the trigger or whatever it is that arouses a negative emotion in you, the intention, the reason for that is to change, to distract you from that, your intention, from that thing you're trying to manifest. I'm still going to talk properly on this. Yeah, this is just, I like to just be natural about my videos. I just like how it comes, put it out how it comes. I don't believe in so much editing and all of that. Just take what works for you from me and leave the rest. So I'm going to just continue on how this can be used. This is being used. Remote neural monitoring to hold people back, because a lot of people, targeted individuals, most especially, many don't know the reason why what is happening to them is happening to them. And I know that most of us, our cases is similar. It's most likely to distract you from the path that you are on. So if you assess yourself, you look at yourself and you are not harming anyone, you don't have any negative intention. You're not doing to somebody else what you don't want that person to do to you, or somebody else to do to you. Once you have assessed yourself and looked at yourself and you're not doing any of these things, then it's most likely because of your spiritual growth, because of your evolution, spiritual evolution. You have been doing something that you may not be conscious about, but you are growing, you're evolving spiritually. So it may be the reason why this is happening to you. If you're not harming someone, why is someone trying to harm you? There's a reason behind that. So think properly. Now, I already stated the procedures, the process of manifesting something. Identify, visualize your intention, create the image in your mind, feel the emotion. Once you feel the emotion, then take physical steps. And the reason why the process is like this: our body, our mind has its own body. The mental body, the mind is a body of its own. The mental body, just like it states, and the emotional body is a body of its own, simultaneously existing in its own realm, just like the mind. And the physical body is a body of its own that is existing in the physical world. In order for we are these three things, we are just densities, just like in state of matter. You know, we are just densities, consciousness in existing in density, you know, in a mental density, emotional density, and a physical density. You know, we are the same thing. Now, in order for our intentions to come through to the physical, it has to flow through this three density of bodies, these three bodies that we are made up of: the mind, the emotion, and the physical body. So in order for it to flow through, they all have to be in alignment, which is they all have to be of the same, should I say language, or should I just say the same agreement, which is when you have that imagination, you have to feel the exact emotion that is behind that imagination. For example, you're trying to manifest a wife, you know, you have to feel the emotion that you would feel if you actually have that wife, or maybe you want to manifest money. You have to feel the emotion of having money, which is the emotion of that, the feeling that you will feel if you have money. That is being in alignment. When you feel that feeling, that means that your thought and your emotion matches. You can't feel a different emotion when you imagine when you're trying to manifest money, and then you're feeling emotion of something else that is not in alignment. That is disalignment. Being alignment is the emotion has to feel that exact equivalent of that mental intention that is being in alignment, and then the body has to work physically, because we use our physical body to physically manifest the intentions of our other bodies that is within this physical body. So that is just what the physical body is. The physical body is just a physical vessel that we are inside, just to be able to do things physically here in this physical realm. You know, so that is the process of manifesting anything, and that is how anything works. If you're trying to manifest something and then you're feeling negative or you're feeling a bad emotion, you're automatically blocking out that thing you're trying to manifest from happening. Because how does your emotion block out bad things from coming into your physical experience? It is by negative emotion. For example, you love someone so much and you just imagine them in a car crash. The emotion you're going to feel in that moment is negative. And that negative emotion is right on point, because you wouldn't want that to happen. So that negative emotion right there that you feel will make sure that that thing does not happen. That is the purpose of negative emotions. They block out any unwanted thing in the mental realm from coming into the physical realm. Now, if this is clear, if it's not clear, please just rewind this until you understand this. Positive emotions allows and negative emotions blocks. Positive emotions allows and negative emotions block. Take these things I've said by step, apply it, and you will see that it works. This world is magic, man. It is magic. You know, magic don't happen only in movies. Magic happen here. It is magic. It is not witchcraft. It is natural. It is something that we are born with. You know, so try this, my people, and see for yourself. Now, remote neural monitoring. If any entity can gain access to what you're thinking, then they know that everything physical that is being created now starts from the mind, starts from the thought. Before you can create a furniture, you have to first design it in your mind. You have to have the complete design in your mind. You know, even the color, even the length, the design, everything, you have to first create it in your mind. Because when you create it in your mind, then your body has a goal to work towards in a physical. Now, when these entities, you know, when any entity that's able to have access to your thoughts, then they will know what your body is trying to manifest, what your body is trying to create. Now, how do they stop it? They follow the natural manifestation process. But now, they know that once you have a goal, mental intention, you have to feel the right emotion behind that mental intention, so that your body, because the emotion is like a fuel, that fuels the action, your action, so they know that once you have that mental intention, you've already created that in your mind, you're going to want to feel the feeling, the emotion behind it. And once you feel the feeling, you're most likely going to create that thing. Now, how can they stop you? By interrupting it is focus. Anything you're doing, anything you're going to achieve in life, as you all know, you can achieve by being focused, by concentration, by continuing on that thing you're doing, then you're going to get there. It's like trying to get to a destination. You have to concentrate your intention. You have to keep moving. The keep movement towards keeping on the path is concentrating, focusing on that path. If you stop, then you're not going to get to that destination. But if you keep focusing on, keep concentrating your movement and your energies on that path that leads to that destination, you're definitely going to get there. So how do they stop you? At moments when you make that mental intention, which you're supposed to now generate the emotion equivalent to it right after, at those moments, they will use something like a trigger. In most cases that they use for people is they traumatize people with sirens. They use those sirens to traumatize them, to scare them, and all other sorts of things. When they traumatize you with that, your mind already records that. It's in your memory, the trauma and all of that. Now, using remote neural monitoring, what they do is once they know your thoughts, as soon as they know what your thought is, they will use that siren, or they will use whatever it is at those moments. You understand? Now, when they use it and you hear it, automatically all the thoughts of that trauma will come to your mind, and you start to feel the feelings behind it, which is negative most of the time. What does negative emotion do to a positive intention when you're trying to create something positive? What negative emotion does is blockage. Think about this. It blocks it. It blocks your manifestation. So this is how they're using remote neural monitoring to keep people poor, to hold people back, to destroy innocent people. Because when you're trying to complain to other people that don't know what this is about, they will look at you like a crazy person because they don't know about it. It's not happening to them, until they know what this thing is. Remote neural monitoring, my people. Research this, remote neural monitoring. There is even a law about this, the use of this on Google. You can find it on Google. Research about it. There's a law about the use of this. And this thing is being abused on a daily basis. They are using it against spiritual people, people who are just natural healers, holistics, spiritual people, beautiful people. They are using this thing on them every day. And how do they get away with this? They get away with this by hiding under normal activities, government vehicles, and every other thing, so that when the person that they're targeting is complaining about it, the masses can easily say, oh, he's a terrorist, or he's a bad person, or he's going crazy, he's got mental issue. Research about this, my people, yeah? Stay blessed. I'll see you guys in another video. Thank you. Bye.